Hey, it's John from Classic Show, and this is a box of Super Nintendo games. Now this box of games was lent to us by a friend and regular viewer, Ben Stokes. So let's choose one of these and review them. So naturally, the red cartridge means Doom. So let's just get it out of the way and do the Doom review already. Just gonna pop this guy right here in the Super Nintendo, and we're ready to go. Since when has Doom been affiliated with Marvel? Wait, this is not Doom.
And you're right, this is not Doom. This is Spiderman Maximum Carnage on the Super Nintendo. So it opens up on this long intro that normally takes about a minute. This is 3 times the speed of it normally. So basically, you start out in New York and you're Spider-Man, what you would expect out of a Spider-Man game. Now it's LJN, and right away you can see that the color scheme for Super Nintendo is not what you would expect. Basically, the premise of the game is beating up random black men and homeless guys. Yeah, you don't do a lot else. You just run around on the streets hitting people. And after you get your stereotypical street thugs and everybody taken care of, you can move on to some supervillains like Doppelganger and some other ones that were shown in the intro, but that's pretty much all you do. Just walk around beating people up. Now this will be a lot better if you would have more effective use of your weapons, such as web shots, and, didn't spend your time beating up random women in the street. I still don't quite understand why all these people want Spider-Man dead. I mean, I always understood that Spider-Man was pretty popular with the common man, so why on earth is he out here beating up random people on the street? It doesn't seem like they're committing any crimes. I mean, it doesn't seem like Spider-Man's the kind of person hundreds of people want to beat up on a daily basis.
So this game is pretty much like every other side-scrolling Double Dragon adventure beat-em-up style game, except this is the Super Nintendo. This is not the NES anymore. We've doubled the bits. We've doubled the graphic capabilities. Why are we still playing games like this when we could be adding things like perspective? We could be adding so much more to this. The color scheme is kind of dull. Why? Why isn't it better? It's a Spider-Man game. Spider-Man, you'd expect a pretty good game. I mean, does anybody remember Spider-Man on the PlayStation 1? That game was epic. This game is not epic.
So here's a glimpse at the second level. You're basically running around trying to climb up buildings and get to the top, and every once in a while lightning falls out of the sky and tries to hit you. And if you'll notice, you see this little lightning around his head? Well, that's his Spidey senses tingling, of course. My Spidey senses are tingling and telling me this is a really bad game.
It's possibly one of the most sickening games I've ever played.
But to be fair to the game, it could be a lot worse. But if you just look in the background of the color scheme, you can see that all the windows are broken out. And if you look up here in between the balconies, the sky is red. It all seems to be red, blue, and gray themed, and it's just kind of unappealing to look at. I think I mentioned this once before, but it really is a problem. I mean, this is New York City. It's supposed to be a little more vibrant than this, don't you think? So this is a small glimpse at one of the boss battles. You're fighting against Doppelganger, and another enemy, I'm not really sure her name.
If only I could have picked up the real Doom.
So occasionally throughout the game you'll come to these parts where you end up in like a comic book style setting. It really reminds me of the gameplay for Batman on the Commodore 64. So Venom is a lot more fun to play as, mainly because he looks completely insane and he hits a lot harder, which is important in this game because that's all you're doing is going around and hitting people. I'm still a little perplexed as to how he's just walking around on the street and no one's concerned. Well, maybe they are kind of concerned because everyone wants him dead. So this is another one of those boss battles, and if you'll notice, you're just fighting 2 fat guys in the street. I mean, the heroes in this game really took a turn for the worse. They're just beating up random people on the street, these two fat guys, and they got killed. Game over? What? Only one continued? That's not fair. Well, after all, it is an LJN game, so what else could you expect?
Spider-Man Maximum Carnage is a very, very bad game. It will cause maximum carnage to your brain cells. Stay away from this game if at all possible. Make sure you carefully read all the labels on all of your red Super Nintendo games. If you ever go and buy one, make sure you scour the entire stack and make sure none have this little rainbow of death. Make sure to stay away from this game at all costs. Save yourself the pain, the misery, and everything else involved with this little cartridge of badness right here. Just stay away and say no.